chapter 2. Oh, I guess... Oh, no. Never mind. Chapter 0 is done. Chapter 1 is starting. We're done with the entry. Let's do this. Returning. A day had passed since the events of Shimaranjaku's South Apartments. This was to be a significant turning point for me, and Mochida might... Wow! This was to be a significant turning point for me, and Mochida might have been part of it from the start, except the fate seemed to have other plans for him. Miss Kuan, I have something pressing I need to get to, so if you'll excuse me. No, you sit back down. Satoshi, your score on that algebra quiz yesterday was rather embarrassing, don't you think? Like an owner training a puppy, Kuan gave him a strong glare and held her index finger in reprimand. For the next hour, I'm going to give you a personal lecture and you're going to listen, and then the next quiz will be a snap to pass. But are you an English teacher? Isn't algebra a little outside your field of expertise? Anything's possible if you put your mind to it. She seemed a little bit taken back by the remark. Hold on. Not that. Run! I don't want to run. I actually want to just... Oh, not that. I want to see if I can find... Okay, never mind. She seemed a little taken back by the remark, puffing up her cheeks like a chipmunk in protest. No, she didn't. But Miss Kuan, it's startling how alike she and Miss Yui are. I'm sorry. Looking both bemused and guilty, Mochida tried to get up and leave his seat in one swift motion. He was quickly and easily caught, lifted up, and forcibly sat back down. Miss Kuan was smiling. She was actually enjoying this. What am I dealing with here? Miss Kuan was only the slightest bit taller than Mochida. This did make her taller than the average, but her arms were small and frail. There seemed to be no way she could possibly have lifted someone off of his build. This whole situation was rather bewildering for him, and he made no attempt to hide his confusion. Now let's begin, shall we? Yes, ma'am. No, Iris, no, don't shake the zombie hand around. He had no other option. Apparently, he was going to be studying algebra for the next hour, come hell or high water. No squeaky. Meanwhile, at the local cafe near the school, Kishinuma and I were sitting down to speak with Aiko and Niwa, and the informant who had led my friends to me the previous night. Are you alright? Does your stomach hurt? I responded with a dismissive gesture while continuing to rub my abdomen and with my other hand. Ever since the previous night, I had this constant, unbearable urge to pee. What the hell is wrong with me? I mean, I know I can get really scared and hyperventilated, but can that affect my body like this? Did it change something in me? My bladder feels like it's fit to burst. So where shall we begin? Aiko tilted her head and stared at me, looking me up and down, seemingly judging my every mannerism, my every movement. It was making me feel really self-conscious. I covered my abdomen with both hands as if guarding it from her gaze. Thank you very much for your help yesterday. Think nothing of it. I only regret that your friends couldn't get to you sooner. Kisaragi Academy is quite large, so it took me some time to track down Kishinuma and the others. Kishinuma and I stared at one another, still unsure how to feel about this strange new addition to our entourage. Ayumi, Kishinuma, you two are survivors from Heavenly Host Elementary, are you not? We'd pledged never to discuss Heavenly Host with anyone else, which we'd always assumed would be an easy promise to keep, but now, casually and out of the blue, here we were. Why, how do you know about that? Well, you've been touched by the ever after. When people come into the contact with the beyond, the color of their auras change to something otherworldly. Something I can see. Well, Kishinuma and I were speechless. I just sat there staring at my palm, subconsciously trying to see my aura. I guess Aiko was smiling at us triumphantly. You said you were an intelligence agent, was it? No, we're not playing right now, babe. For the supernatural and your friend of Naho's. That's correct. I'm the one who tipped her off about Heavenly Host Elementary, in fact. The true source of the deaths and subsequent erasures that had turned our lives into a living nightmare was the Sachiko Ever After ritual posted on Naho's occult blog. I've been a fan of Naho's for quite some time, so when I saw that, I knew I had to try it out with my friends from Class 2-9, and as a result, half of my friends were now gone. I suppose you're aware that Naho was involved in supernatural investigations on behalf of one Mr. Kibiki, no? I am, and I know she hasn't been seen since posting information on Sachiko Ever After. Well, my business is of similar nature. I gather data. Not always money, mind you. Sometimes I'll do my dirty work in exchange for a peculiar spirit item that perks my interest. It all depends on whom I'm dealing with. It's entirely give and take. They want my information and I want their cash, or their artifacts. Physically, Aiko was a very attractive young lady, but personality-wise, the jury was still out. Her words were calculated and emotionless, her true intentions a mystery. She's friends with Naho. She's a bitch. One could call me an information dealer, but I prefer intelligence agent, and Naho was a good customer. My info on Heavenly Host proved to be her last purchase, however. At the time, Naho was single-mindedly excited about Mr. Kabiki's work. She believed he could qualify for some award with the information I found for her. Say, could you tell me, was Naho there in that other world you found yourself strapped in? Naho died together with Mr. Kabiki. I looked down as I answered. Despite everything she'd done, the memory of Naho's passing was still painful for me. She'd become one of the Heavenly Host's lost souls and gone completely berserk. In the end, I was the one who finished her off. I see. I assumed as much. Aiko seemed completely unaffected by the revelation. Her tone remained even and her expression cold and distant. Honestly, I had about enough of her by this point. She was devoid of empathy. It was almost offensive. I was gently starting to get pissed off. And you're okay with that? I do feel sorry for her, don't get me wrong, but I had a strong feeling things would end this way. There's no point in lamenting that for which I was fully prepared. Kishinuma continued to stare intently at Aiko with his own brand of cold, emotionless eyes. He was oddly quiet, though his anger was palpable. I clenched my fist. Don't you? You barely got it unclenched last time. What about this girl? I believe she performed the ritual alongside Naho. Did you see her there as well? Yes, and she's dead, poor lady. Aiko showed us a photo of a girl named Sayako Oe. No. I can't say I've ever met her. I see. Aiko's expression was so unfaltered, you could carve it into stone. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to say something. If you're calling Naho your customer, I don't think you can really say you are her friend. My voice was breaking with rage. But even if it hadn't been the case, my faith must have read like a book. This icy bitch may have had only one expression, but I sure didn't. Oh my, do you have something against that word? When I deal with my customers, I give them a guarantee of the utmost quality and dedicate myself to their satisfaction. It's an unbreakable bond of trust like one would have for a partner, and that's not always something you can say about friendship, now is it? I had no idea what to say. It just seemed like Aiko was used to this sort of thing. Her response felt carefully rehearsed, like a sales pitch. Finally, Kishinuma broke his silence. Hey, I do want to thank you for helping us save Shinozaki yesterday, really, but spreading dangerous information just to pay the bills? How the hell can you sleep at night? Information is just that. Information. It's harmless on its own. There's no good or bad. It's like a tool. It's up to the recipient how it's used. Anything can be harmful in the wrong hands, after all. Why, that cup over there could be used to kill a man just as easily as any knife. The hell it could. That's bullshit and you know it. No, she's got a point. If you broke it and you take it and you go cutty, cutty, cutty. Ayumi, do you agree? Aiko, I'm sorry, but I hate the way you think. I feel it's irresponsible. Got it. Hair that's itching me. Her expression seemed calm and collected overall, but her eyes blinked several times in rapid succession. It was the first outward sign of emotion we'd seen from her. Well, now it seems I've come to be regarded as something of a villain here. I can't say this is new or unexpected, but it never ceases to be disheartening. Aiko quickly shrugged off her sudden outburst, and I was back to her usual icy self. It doesn't matter now anyway. We destroyed Heavenly Host. It's gone. An awkward tension filled the room, at least on our table. Let's get down to business, then. There's a reason I sought you out, something I wanted to discuss with you. Aiko produced a thick, hard-bound file folder from a light blue bag she'd brought with her. She opened it and revealed several documents of questionable nature. Among them were what looked like a family tree, as well as numerous pages featuring black magic symbology, and images that looked like tree branches. Black magic spell charts, and is that the Shinozaki family tree? You may find what I'm about to tell you a bit shocking. Aiko was looking directly into my eyes now. Her gaze was fixed, intense, and unblinking. What Kishinuma said a moment ago is incorrect. Huh? What do you mean? Heavenly Host Elementary has not been destroyed. It still exists even now. Take a look at this. Aiko placed a black and white photo on the table. It wasn't the clearest of pictures, but there was no doubt that the location depicted was Heavenly Host Elementary. In the picture, a small girl could be seen standing in one of these all-too-familiar hallways holding a hatchet in her right hand. It's Heavenly Host. Where did this come from? We have confirmation, then. It's a photograph I've taken. I didn't have the power to produce a clear image, but this is the current state within Heavenly Host. I don't understand. What am I looking at? I can't even describe what was going through my head at that moment. I felt like I was about to burst. Aiko, however, remained calm as ever while recounting her story. Let's start at the beginning. First, the red box from yesterday. After some time, I was able to open it, and I found these spirit items contained within. The box I'd found on Makina's futon. Inside it were apparently 2 stones resembling magatama, common-shaped ceremonial objects from Japanese antiquity. Also included in the box were several more roughly hewn stones, as well as a lining along the edges consisting of crumpled pieces of thin white paper. Unfortunately, most of the box's contents were broken or damaged. This pair, however, was still fully intact. They looked almost like a demented version of a yin and yang symbol. Puzzle pieces that were clearly built to be slotted together. Eiko now held one stone in each hand, and was motioning them towards one another as if to drive the point home. Spirit items are, in the simplest terms, items which have been infused with thoughts and feelings of the dead. Those who bear such objects will be visited by spirits within them, or at the very least be forever privy to their memories and earthly laments. It's a wonderful thing. I may not quite look the part, but I'm actually quite an avid collector of spirit items. Kishinuma and I briefly locked eyes. We shared the same look of bewilderment. Aiko's personality was much more twisted than either of us had initially perceived it to be. I tried to get a fix on this little girl's thoughts, and in doing so I heard a vengeful cry, and I saw an image of a girl with a braided hair in an abandoned school building. My curiosity had been piqued. I took out this camera. At this, she produced an old instant camera and placed it on the table in front of us. Is the camera obscura? I tried to take a photo of the image in my mind. The result is that shot. This particular spirit item only allows me to produce images from the exact moment in time when the picture is taken. The past and the future alike are beyond its reach. Examine the photograph in greater detail and chill ran down my spine. There was definitely no denying what it depicted. No. I was actually shaking. Without Sachiko Shinozaki, the schools should have collapsed. It should have ceased to exist as soon as we escaped. But Dark Sachiko! I believe the collapse was halted, perhaps right on the brink, even maybe because of the person to whom that voice I heard belongs. Echo motioned toward the photo in my hand. It could even be the girl in that photo. I wonder where she is. The answer was beginning to dawn on me. A sudden cold sensation exploded through my body and I shuddered as if trying to shake off the encroaching realization. God damn it! You really think that hellhole's still around? Kishinuma leaned forward. The conversation was clearly beginning to engage him a lot more than it had been. Heavenly Host Elementary, or rather the dimension space that took on the form of Heavenly Host Elementary, fascinated me from the moment I introduced it to Naho. I began to research it independently and learned that its true identity is, well, something like a new nirvana, a netherworld or a hereafter, an otherworldly plane of death. Though ordinarily one tends to think of there being only one in this world and the next. A new nirvana? That's correct. You know about Yoshie Shinozaki, do you not? Yeah, and of her clinic, the Shinozaki estate wherein the grimoire known as the Book of Shadow was located? Yeah. Why? How could she know about that? A million thoughts, a million questions were running through my head. I was speechless. All I could do was sit here and hear her out. It was like a muffled scream or a moan of agony, the sound you make when you want to make a sound but are barely able to. That one was a little more forceful, accompanied by thrashing it caused a nearby table light to fall over and roll along the ground. Please, dear, come now. You need to stay calm. This was Yoshie Shinozaki's clinic, and Yoshie herself was on top of her husband, holding him down with both of her hands. She continued her Shindo purification chant. To French Seiji from biting off his own tongue, he had been gagged with a towel. Needless to say, he wasn't looking particularly well. Not far from where this was occurring, Sachiko stood aghast and trembling as she watched the proceedings with hesitant, sidelong glances. Izanagi no Okami, who visits the underworld and beholds our foul spirits, guide us to the cleansing waters of the Tachibana on the Oda no Ahagihara shores of the land of Tsukushi. Hey! Seiji, still collapsed on the floor, was clearly suffering. His body was bent into a most unnatural shape and was fervently clawing at his neck. I beseech thee, in the name of divine virtues of the gods gathered here, to wash away the sins we've committed and the impurities that dwell within the minds and bodies. Sachiko's father screamed through his gag, foam beginning to froth out from the edges. He was going into cyanosis. Ghost images of Shinozaki women from ages past smiled down upon the event from the ceiling, laughing and mocking his suffering. Worse still, some of the women had traditionally blackened teeth, giving their smiles an unintentionally scented, wow, that's loud in my ear. Yeah, the atmosphere within the room was heavy, as if the spirits occupied every empty corner, dancing and flittering with freely and justly. Aji's body sharply bent and began convulsing. Come into the world. Multitudinous Okami of... Oh, okay. Oh, dear, stay with me, dear. Miyoya no Mitami, I beg of you, please do not take him. Her great-grandmother, Sierra, the head of the Shinozaki family, was among the black-teethed women laughing joyously at Seiji's suffering. Oh dear. His voice began to weaken and his convulsions began to lose strength. Finally, the last spark of life he had left in his body, his eyes rolled back into his head and the movement ceased. Daddy, why aren't you breathing? Sachiko looked up, eyes glazed over with tears. Yoshie, too, was stricken with grief and despair. This is what it means to be a Shinozaki, to be part of the cursed bloodline. All men who marry in are guaranteed to die quickly. Not even Yoshie could circumvent that fate. So she turned to the Forbidden Book, an item she and her family had been protecting for generations from those who might misuse it. The Grimoire, the Book of Shadows. Death by cackle, yes. To lose a loved one was a fate she feared more than anything else, so she tried to offset it through black magic. It was an act of truly absurd foolishness. She must have cared for him so deeply she would have literally done anything to see him again, no matter the cost of her own immortal soul. Echo stared deeply into my eyes, seemingly fishing for a reaction to her tale. But then what happened next was almost beyond belief. I continued listening, knowingly stroking the wound on my thighs, as unpleasant memories of my own foolish run-in with black magic resurfaced. The Shinozaki blood that flowed through Yoshia's vein was more powerful than anyone could have known. Its energy spawned something much different than what Yoshia intended. By which, of course, I mean. I instantly knew what she was going to say. In the book, she created a new nirvana. There, one could exist with the dead for all eternity. It was a new dimension cut from the netherworld itself, forcibly born into the world of the living. Yoshia must have lost half her sanity right there. She tried to leave her only child Sachiko in the real world, while living with her husband's soul in the new nirvana. Does this make sense with the first game, though? The Land of Corpses. However, this nirvana had a mind of its own. Yoshia couldn't possibly control it, Shinozaki or no. I knew that all too well. Just like Yoshie, I'd experienced my own tragic failure with black magic at the Shinozaki clinic. Black magic has its own blowback of sorts. Her husband's soul was split apart and scattered in all directions, and Yoshie's life, too, was on the verge of being stuffed out. She knew she'd made a mistake. She deeply regretted it, and as she took what she could have only assumed to be her dying breath. Her sole daughter, Sachiko, in possession of a nearly limitless spiritual potential, absorbed the entirety of this new nirvana into her body. Sachiko? The poor girl collapsed to the floor, violently thrashing at the weight of the entire dimension crushed her from the inside. This action had saved her mother's life, certainly, but death would have surely been preferable. Picking herself up, Yoshie rushed her to the daughter's side in tears. I am so confused. Aww. Both parent and child were bawling pain mixing with relief mixing with pain again. The little girl buried her face into Yoshie's bosom and just cried and cried. Yoshie grasped her tightly in both arms, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. By this point, Sachiko's body had begun producing a dark blue aura. I'm sorry, Sachi. I'm so sorry. Mommy was wrong. Mommy has you, so from now on, Mommy will never leave you. She'll never even think of leaving you again. Oh. And then she does. As you know, Sachiko is a direct descendant of the Shinozaki line, a thoroughbred. This means her power is greater than Yoshie's. It had to be, of course, for her to house an entire dimension within her body. Eiko took a big, noisy sip from her coffee mug. Oh. At the time, she must have been the strongest practitioner of dark arts in all the world, little girl or no. Yet, despite that, she wound up dying. That's right, the same day Yoshie fell and died, Sachiko disappeared. That was 50 years ago now. Oh my nose. They were both killed by the principal. Just as I suspected. The principal's heinous actions are to blame, then, for resurrecting the new nirvana within Sachiko and creating the closed space we know as Heavenly Host Elementary. It's probably because of the school was the site of Sachiko's violent demise that her nirvana took on its form. Yet even then, with Sachiko reborn as a spirit in that realm, she was still an all-powerful, seemingly continuing to exert complete control over it. I guess that's why she was able to manifest so many different horrible things in there. This was all starting to make a sick sort of sense. The pieces were falling into place, painting an absolute awful picture. I shuddered to myself as I considered it. When you escape, you remove Sachiko from the equation, but the nirvana remained, and is going berserk once more. It should have just disappeared. This world would be better off without it. This entire conversation was a roller coaster of emotions for me. At this point, I was just angry. Angry at everyone involved in this whole ordeal, myself included. Now then, if I may, I'd like to discuss something a bit outlandish with you. Okay. Would you like to see your dead friends again? That certainly got our attention. We both perked up our heads. We both perked up our heads immediately. Spirits that have died in the Nirvana are said to roam its grounds, trapped and unable to find rest. As such, your friends' souls may still exist on that plane. I got the hiccups. There are actually a number of useful magics listed in the Book of Shadows. Aside from the spell Yoshie used to create the new Nirvana, there's also a spell called the Spell of Revival. Nakashima and I knew about the one all too well. Forcefully returning alive to this plane is, of course, dreadfully taboo, as it's considered an effort to the will of God by virtue of all religious organizations. Huh? Hishinuma seemed a bit more confused than he probably should have been, though I suspect the look on my face may have had something to do with that. I'd performed that spell, the very one Aiko was describing. It took hours, failed miserably, and killed my sister. All at once, the guilt returned. I lowered my head solemnly. Aiko grinned at me, and I had the sneaking suspicion it was because she somehow knew what I was thinking, though I couldn't be sure, and I certainly didn't know how she would. Still, who cares about bullshit like that, right? You can be blasphemous, you can break every commandment, bring it on. You'll do whatever it takes to resurrect your dead friends, no? All you have to do is find that book and cast that spell once more within Heavenly Host Elementary. Your chances of success would be much, much higher there, don't you think? Hold on. Do you have any idea what you're saying? What happens if things get even worse? I didn't exactly mean to interrupt Kishinuma, but quite honestly, I didn't even realize he was talking. I was too focused on what Aiko had just said. You know about it, don't you? Our failed attempt at Yoshie's place, me and Nakashima. Aiko tilted her head at me, that same wry smile creeping across her face. She'd gone from cold and emotionless to knowing and expressive in a mere instant. I don't think we really believed what was happening to us. It was like a dream. What we saw was impossible. What we experienced was impossible. I thought I was going insane. It shouldn't have been possible. We shouldn't have done it. I wanted to put all of this behind me. But it was real. Aiko pointed to the scar on my neck, then went one step further and lightly brushed it with her hand. I could feel that touch deep within my soul. I suddenly found myself swallowing my next breath, practically choking on thin air. See? You came in contact with something ordinary people could never even imagine. Do you really think you can just turn tail and run from that now? I looked down again, trying my best to avoid Aiko's gaze. Do you really think I can do it? When I started crying. I raised my head again, intent upon looking deep into Aiko's eyes as she answered my question, but she looked so blurry through my tears. I could tell, though, she was still smiling at me. It was the same expression, her new standard. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Can you be more specific? Can I really? Yes, what is it? I want to hear you say it. What exactly is that you wish to accomplish? Can I bring everybody back? Nicely done. Aiko patted my head as one might dogs after successfully performed a trick. What the Grima produces are miracles, spawned from the wisdom of the witches, and those miracles hold the power to bend fate. Even if that fate is set in stone, so to speak. You are a descendant of the House of Shinozaki, a family of immensely powerful practitioners of magic, and since Hinoe is no longer with us, this is something only you can do. My confidence was being bolstered by the minute. Though in retrospect, that was likely Aiko's aim. Nonetheless, if there was still something I could do for my friends. But wait, I don't even know where the Book of Shadows is anymore. Plus, you're no longer able to travel to Heavenly Hosts by the way of the Shachiko in the Ever After ritual. Now that Sachiko is gone, correct? Yeah, that's right. That's what Yuki said anyway. Or Yuki Kano, a girl from the school. Aiko once again placed that bluish-white Magatama stone from the book in either hand, this time fitting them together, though not quite the way we were supposed to interlock. That's where these come in. What are they? They house an exceptional amount of spiritual energy, as one would expect given that they're spirit items from the Shinozaki line. The voice I heard told me about them. They're called Ever After Stones. Ever After Stones? I leaned forward despite myself. The name sent a shiver down my spine, but now that I'd heard it, I had to know more. These two are one. Fit them together like a puzzle piece, enchant Nirvana, I summon the dead, and all who are in direct or indirect contact with them will be spirited away. We both flinched at her chant, but Aiko just smiled. She must have intentionally oriented the stones the wrong way so the charm wouldn't activate. It's the same when you return. She tossed the stones she'd been holding in her right hand into her left, where it clacked together with the other. Strange, isn't it? This girl taught me the technique herself. Aiko gazed longingly at the stones. She was clearly utterly enamored by them. It seemed as if they were the key factors in unleashing her newfound emotionless expressiveness. But my focus was clearly elsewhere. Without a doubt, the item Aiko now held in her her left hand were extraordinarily dangerous, possibly the most dangerous, horrific objects in the entire world. However, while Aiko was ogling with her left hand, her right was feeling around for something in her breast pocket. She slowly removed it, produced the old black and white photograph. When had she taken that? It was the same photograph I'd seen at Makino Shinozaki's house the previous night. It depicted a young Yoshie alongside her mother and Makina. When Yoshie was in her teens, she adored her aunt Makina and would often go over to her place for a visit. The Shinozaki family, world famous for their spiritual abilities, this was when it all started. The surviving elder of the Yagagura Society felt it was too dangerous to leave these items with the Martubas. So he came here intending to steal the Book of Shadows away from them. But he felt it would be even more dangerous for the Book of Stones to remain together, so while he gave the book to Yoshie for safekeeping, he gave the stones to Makina. I see. I do not understand. Yagagura Society's Martubas. I'd heard these terms for I never heard these terms before at all. You and me both, sister. And then there was the damn Book of Shadows again. Why did that have to keep coming up? You removed Sachiko Shinozaki from that school, and in doing so you created the perfect storm of opportunities. Two-way travel to and from that dimension is now possible. It's no longer a one-way road. A new spiritual hotspot, something not of the world, has been born. She thrust the after stones toward me triumphantly and continued to make her pitch, growing more excited by the seconds. I was legitimately speechless. What could I say? Don't you see? The place is a gold mine. People can no longer claim the world of spirits is fake, or that spiritual investigators like myself are lying. It's all different now. Occult research can be legitimized. I'm even considering bringing people to that cursed dimension on a tour if I can, to make a little extra cash. Ooh, no. Kishinuma and I both reacted to the preposterous suggestion with a start. She couldn't possibly be serious, could she? I've deleted the proxy doll data from Naho's blog, so no one else will be able to jump there anymore. Only I possess the means to enter this place now. Oh, good. What could she possibly have been thinking? I wanted to stop her at once. I wanted to take these stones and break them right there on the spot before anyone else got hurt. But when I begin to conduct these tours, however, I want to make customer safety my top priority. And you seek your friend's spirits, do you not? Well, reinvestigating that dimension could help you reach your goal. Our destinations are the same, Ayumi. Aiko leaned in as she spoke. Her breath, scented with the sugary sweetness of the extravagant desserts we'd been eating, tickled my nose. What? Ugh. So what do you say? Let's go back to Heavenly Host Elementary together one more time, shall we? I really wanted to conduct tours using the paper dolls, but missed my chance. Now, though, I have these lovely stones. I feel this must be fate. I can make a business of it. Aiko seemed like she was on top of the world, but that just made me all the more disgusted with her. So how about it? On the other hand, she was offering me a chance to save our lost friends, and however remote the chance may have been, it stacked the odds frustratingly. Why did I not know how to say that for a minute? Frustratingly in our favor. I still couldn't just say yes, but I also couldn't say no. Honestly, I resented Aiko for putting me in this position. I glared at her for a moment before I said anything. I can't answer that right now. Give me some time to think it over. I'd almost forgotten Kishinuma was there. Suddenly waves of guilt washed over me. He had an absolutely incredulous look on his face. I couldn't bear to see it, so I looked away. We don't know where the Book of Shadows is anyway. Plus, how do we know what those stones can actually do what you say they can? I think hearing her in my ear at the same time is throwing me off. There's no way you could have tried it, right? Aiko smiled. She oriented the two stones so they'd form a perfect yin-yang symbol and then slotted them together once again. Immediately, the stones began glowing with a bluish-white hue and a stream of energy started to form around her. You gotta be kidding me. Aiko continued smiling directly into my eyes. No need to decide now. Think it over. Yes, it is true. The full range of these stones' power has yet to be tested, so their true danger is as yet undetermined. She slowly separated the two stones as she said this, and the energy surrounding her dissipated. But they're from the home of Makina Shinozaki. She just did that in public? But they're from the home of Makina Shinozaki, a prominent branch of the Shinozaki tree. The authenticity and credibility of the intelligence heart. I'm just like imagining everybody at the coffee shop just looking at her like, what the fuck just happened? Hell of a thing. Can I see them? Kishinuma didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the ever after stones from Aiko's hand and began examining them carefully. Hard to believe that this is what is in that box. You weren't planning on keeping these stones all to yourself, were you? Aiko seemed taken aback by the question. Way to go, Kishinuma. You managed to catch her off guard. Half the credit for finding them is due to Shinozaki risking her skin, after all. Aiko seemed to ponder these words for a moment. Apparently when I dropped off Lainey last time, she peed twice before we got in my car. Because she just had to go real bad. But then, like, they were home, like, within 2 hours, but I guess she peed on their couch, and I'm like, on the couch? That seems more like done in aggression than... than just an accident. Well then, let's make sure neither of us can go by ourselves. We'll each keep one of the 2 stones. Or just mad that her parents weren't there. Alright, give me one, Kishinuma. Sure thing. Kishinuma plopped one of the stones in my hand, then slipped the other back into the drawstring pouch Aiko had brought them in and closed it up. There. He then casually handed the pouch back to his rightful owner. Feel free to give me a call anytime you'd like, and don't worry, I'll even help you find the Book of Shadows free of charge. Aiko flashed us the biggest, most gregarious smile I think I'd ever seen. And when we do find it, you will go with me, won't you, Ayumi? I closed my eyes and gave something like a half-hearted half nod, lowering my head without raising it again. It was interpreted as a yes, but I'm not sure I meant it that way. Good. That being the case, it's on me today. Aiko got up and grabbed the check. No, I'll pay for mine. I took out my wallet. I had noted I'd owe this person anything. Aiko just smiled. Dutch it is, then. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. I'd like you to have this. Aiko handed her photograph to me. Now, it's not going to bite you, and I'm not asking any money for it, so please just take it with my blessing. I don't know. I despise her. Me too. Suzumoto, Shinohara, Morishige, and Miss Yui. As soon as I'm done with those four, I'm breaking this stone. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Better make sure to break the other one though too while you're at it. As if I'd been waiting for this cue, Kishinuma pulled the other stone from his pocket. Kishinuma? She doesn't know what it's like in that school. I mean, she was actually getting excited about going there, so I helped myself when she wasn't looking. Kishinuma, that's amazing. You're terrible. Hey, serious business calls for serious actions, though, Shinozaki. I don't know how to say this exactly, but about the whole resurrection thing. The whole situation with Suzumoto and the others should probably just be left alone, don't you think? You've gone through so much already and have come really close to dying, and I don't think any of them, not even Suzumoto, Miss Yui, Shinohara, or Morishige, would want that. But that might not be true. Damn it, Shinozaki, just stop. Do you know how much Satoshi and Nakashima have been worrying about you? I'm sorry. But Kishinuma, please, you have to understand, I just need a little more. I need you to humor me for just a little bit longer, okay? Please just let me do this. Fine, but listen, you're not doing it alone. I'm going to keep one of the stones. Okay. It'll be alright, you know. I turned my gaze up to meet Kishinuma's. My eyes must have looked like saucers, windows into the mind full of worries. Ideas and fears spurred by unexpected turn of events. If anything happens, don't hesitate to call me, okay? I'm here for you, and I don't want you blindly rushing into dangerous situations like you did yesterday. I may not be able to offer much, but I'm confident I can at least protect you from harm. Kishinuma patted me on the head reassuringly as he said this, and I had no idea how to react. I felt warm and safe, but also a little annoyed, much like a young sister being simultaneously comforted and scolded by her big brother. All I could say in response was, okay. I could feel my eyes still bulging from my head, opened as far as my eyelids would allow. I imagined how I must have appeared to Kishinuma, and I was momentarily embarrassed. Come on now, let's get you home. Okay. Oh my god, I get to walk! Why do I feel like I have to talk to you? He's late. Seriously, what is he thinking? The boy needs a boot to the head, I swear. Do I go this way? Do I go home? What do I do? Run! Whee! I remember running up these stairs with Mayo Suzumoto. At the time, it never dawned on me that the legitimacy of those memories could ever be called into question. Why would it? When you graduate, transfer, or get married, you're always still able to see one another as long as you're both alive, but in this reality, the Suzumoto never even existed. Whee! Well, I'm not going that way. Whee! Where are all the other people? The street seems unusually quiet. It's just because of the late hour? Whee! I'm just weeing around. Just give me a second. Whee. I'm guessing my house is over here. I'm getting tired. Hold on. Here's my house. Is anyone in this house happy? Obviously they're experiencing the daily joys of hardship of life that everyone else, but do they really understand what it all means? Okay, so to go that way. Let's go this way. Can I go in here? The sign on the door reads closed for the day, though this building has actually been vacant for years. This used to be a photo studio, I think. Ooh, trash. There's a human arm poking out through the hole in the garbage bags. On closer inspection, it's from a mannequin. Oh, okay. Sure. I don't need anything right now. Let's look in here. Could have sworn I just saw something move under the trash can. Must have been emptied out recently. It's completely clean inside and smells. The smell's only a plastic bag, but you saw something. Not yet. I feel like I need to keep looking around. Why? I'm not sure. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I'm good. Okay, we're good. Let's just go then. That was weird. Oh, she's definitely got some PTSD. Come on, Lynn. Let's go. I'm home. Welcome back. News yet another bizarre death has just come in. This time, a Mr. Okabe who was discovered within the city at this location having suffered a broken spine. A Tokyo map was displayed on the television screen. Tokyo map was displayed on the television screen, marked with 2 red dots. The marquee at the bottom provided the headline, "Sudden violent deaths remain unexplained." Dinner will still be a while yet. Maybe you should take your bath first, Ayumi. Okay. Without thinking, I'd left the socks I just removed from my feet on the living room floor and began walking toward the bathroom. Hey, socks! Ah. Mama's mean. This was a bad habit of mine, so ingrained within me that I had almost become ritual. Mom did well to have caught it so quickly. I grabbed my socks and left the room. Can I really bring them all back? If I use the Book of Shadows inside Heavenly Host this time, it might just work. I set my bag down in my room, quickly and automatically grabbed my sweatpants and spats, and made a beeline for the bathroom. When I got there, I threw my socks into the hamper with a purpose, then began peeling off my school uniform as I observed myself in the mirror. I began to murmur, "Blowback. If I'm not careful, the same thing could happen again." Those burn marks on my neck and arms were eternal reminders of what I'd been through at the Shinozaki estate. I could clearly remember the agony I went through as they formed. I remember watching them sear into my flesh out of thin air. Blood spurted from them as if it had been knifed. I only survived because Hinoe sacrificed herself in my place. I have to do it. I tried to force my self-confidence into my expression. When it wouldn't come, I slapped my cheeks hard. It was in me somewhere. It just needed to be yanked out into the open. You have to do your best, damn it. I lowered my head into the water ever so slightly, blowing bubbles in the water with my mouth. The pros and cons of returning to Heavenly Host are racing through my head. This is the power to challenge fate itself, to rewrite it, and I'm a Shinozaki, so this is something only I can do. I have to show everyone that I can bring them back. If only I knew where to find the Book of Shadows. I need to get my hands on it again. You're seriously going to look for a Book of Shadows. Your lack of sense never ceases to amaze me. God damn it, what are you doing here? This is my bathroom! This was just about the last thing I expected. I couldn't help but scream. It was that same boy who'd found his way into my room last time wearing the exact same clothes. He spoke to me without once turning his head to look in my direction. So you know about the Nirvana now. You finally pieced it all together and realized what you have to do. He smiled, still facing away from me. It was a confident yet cynical. How would you know if he's not facing you? Why? Why and how? Hiding one's presence is about as basic a spell as they come. There's no need for the blown gasket. As for why I'm here, it's to remind you of who you are and what you have to do. Your bloodline carries a certain responsibility, after all. You... pervert, stalker, molester, I'm calling the cops! My face had to have been red as fire by this point. Shut the fuck up, titless! Oh wow. Who you calling a pervert when you got the body of a grade schooler? Ain't nobody gonna want to see a wasteboard like that. Ooh, oh, oh, ooch. Ouch! What? My hell felt like it now housed all the blood from my entire body. I imagined myself white as a sheet below the neck and flashed red above it, on the verge of a megaton explosion. Just listen up. The Book of Shadows is back in the Nirvana. It happened when you messed up at the Shinozaki estate. Here. He handed me the photograph from Aiko. What are you trying to pull? Just look at it, you blind bitch. Here, right the fuck here. So much swearing. I grabbed the photograph from his hands aggressively as I could muster, then backed away slightly, putting as much distance between me and him as humanly possible. It was definitely the same picture of the little girl holding the hatchet as Aiko had shown us earlier, but now I noticed that she was holding something in her other hand. It was a hardbound book, around the size of a typical desk dictionary, and though I could barely make it out, there was a certain aura to it that looked awful like a face. God, it is. If you want to use its power, you gotta go back to Nirvana. Or should I say, back to Heavenly Host. Jump over there and get the book, and then maybe, just maybe, you can make your wish come true. He stuck out his hand and pointed directly at my face, and slowly lowered it down toward my abdomen. He was now inexplicably pointing at my lower body, but as soon as I started to get self-conscious, he flipped his hand over and opened it, exposing his palm. There was another piece of 10-yen gum cup there, the same kind as before. I'm not sure why I took it, but I did, without even thinking. As soon as the exchange was made, he immediately turned toward the bathroom window, apparently prepping to make his escape. Who are you, and why me? My question seemed to stop him in his tracks. Aren't you going to explain all this? I wasn't about to drop my guard, especially given the obvious advantage this boy had over me. But he didn't seem like he'd come to attack me or anything. Rather, it was almost like he was trying to lead me somewhere, to show me the way. I can't answer that just yet. He turned his head toward me just enough that I could catch a brief glimpse of eyes beyond his hood. They were ice blue in color, but gentle and sincere. He smiled once more as he leapt out the bathroom window. I was kind of dumbfounded. I had no idea how to process what had just happened. I'm more amazed your mom hadn't run in. She comes to my thoughts. What's wrong, Ayumi? Are you okay? Mom barged into the bathroom, brandishing her broom. It was probably the first thing she could find which would fend off a potential intruder. It was too bad she hadn't been just a moment quicker. All I could do was squat on the cold bathroom floor and stare at her with hollow eyes. There was no way to adequately explain any of this to her. There was some creep at the window. It was later at night, and I still hadn't bothered changing out of my school uniform. I needed food, though, so I decided to hit up the convenience store on my way back home. I picked up a bottle of olives, a pack of tofu, some mineral water, and some other various things to keep me going for a while. The hell's this? I could hardly believe it. There was actually an occult section at the damned mini-mart, with all kinds of stupid stuff like spiritual talisman magnets and anti-demon wards. I grabbed one off the shelf at random and looked at the company logo on the backside. PL Promotions Company, Inc. For these last 2 months since we'd gotten back from Heavenly Host, it seemed like there was a real spiritual boom going on all over the world. Whenever there'd be a strange death or something, the public would be all over it, downright excited about the possibility that it might be supernatural in nature. It was all over the TV shows and magazines, too, with independent researchers checking out spiritual hotspots and giving fancy new age advice to people, just to boost ratings and sales. And now this, exorcism merchandise next to prepackaged cupcakes and ready-to-make dinners. Get your talismans at the corner store now, huh? Not too long ago I'd made fun of all this crap. Guess it's not such a laughing matter anymore, though. Never thought I'd say the day when I'd just pick up one of these things and wonder if it actually works. The item I'm examining happened to be one of the spirit talisman magnets, seemingly the last one in stock. Huh. An old lady suddenly reached around me from behind and yanked it right out of my hands. What? She glowered at me for the first moment before taking her prize over to the register, and I just stood there staring blankly at her as she walked away. The hell? Thank you very much. Withered bouquet of flowers. Oh yeah, I heard there was a serial killer who'd recently done in a middle school girl around here. These were probably left in memory of her or something. It's pretty messed up. Someone threw their burnable trash from home in here again. Must have been emptied. Alright. Get you a double terminated rose quartz time crystal, will ya? I'll think about it. Just a cat. Don't I feel like an idiot now? It's late. I just want to go home, I think. Okay. Fine. Let's go home. Kishinuma. Shinozaki, what are you doing here this late? I thought you went home. I did. Sorry to accost you like this. You just get off work? Yeah, I had a late shift today. Wait, don't tell me you've been waiting for me here this whole time, have you, man? I'm really sorry. No, it's fine. It's actually really chilly tonight. It was actually a really chilly night. I could see Shinozaki's breath dissipating around his chin in a short, frequent burst. It's not fine at all. You're shivering. You can come in if you want. I'll get you some hot tea or something. Thanks. My room was on the second floor of the apartment building. I hadn't been expecting guests, but I had just tidied up for my own sake a little while back, so it was fairly presentable. Shinozaki immediately sat down on my bed and began sipping the tea I'd made for her. She was holding it in both hands, probably less for politeness and more just to warm them up. This is really good. Isn't it? It's from my sister. She sends it to me all the time. Says it's made from really good leaves. The sound of the large truck driving by seemed to catch her off guard. She was clearly a bit jittery, unsurprisingly, all things considered. They do construction at this hour? Yeah, when it gets close to the end of the year, they do all the kinds of pointless work out there. It's like this every night. I've been sleeping like crap because of it. That sounds really annoying. Time passed us by us at a snail's pace. Shinozaki continued to sip her tea, never once removing either hand from the warm cup. She definitely had something on her mind. Something had happened. It was all written over her face. Are you fighting with your parents or something? Don't worry. They know I'm here. They do? Yeah. Shinozaki was in my room. I dreamed about this before, but never thought it would actually happen. Okay, but... I just kind of want to know, like, what you're doing here this late. Something happened? You could say that. Seriously? You want to go back to Heavenly Host right now? I was half acting, as admittedly. This wasn't entirely unexpected. Shinozaki may have a lot of things, but unpredictable is not among them. Please. So you came here to get this stone from me. I took out the Ever After stone I'd sold from Aiko. Come on, Shinozaki. Think about it. Yeah, the stone's got you all glowy, so they probably can send you over, but what do you actually hope to accomplish once you get there? What if you get stuck again and can't get out? You'll die. And if you die over there, your existence will be erased over here. You'll be gone. I tried to be as strong and commanding as I could possibly muster. I need her to realize what a bad idea this was. I don't care if I'm erased. I just want to save our friends. Save them? The Grimoire, the Book of Shadows, I know where it is. That book you were talking about earlier? Yeah. Here, look. She had that thoughtograph thing from Aiko with her and was pointing to the little girl's left arm. It's been staring at us in the face the whole time. Look, in her hand. That is the Book of Shadows. I didn't have to look very hard to see it, but... Okay, so she's carrying a book. Fine, but do you have any proof that it's the Book of Shadows? No, but I don't think it could be anything else. You don't think? We just have to go to Heavenly Host and get it back. Then we can save everyone's soul from the Nirvana. We can finally resurrect Suzumoto and the others. How could I argue with that? There were so many assumptions being made, but she was so sure of herself, so certain that this would work. She wasn't about to listen to reason. Shinozaki shook her head furiously, like some sort of violent shudder. It almost seemed like she was trying to shake something loose from her mind. But can these rocks actually take us back to Heavenly Host? That girl Aiko Niwa, was it? Or something just not quite right about her, don't you think? Well, we won't know that until we test them, now will we? But if they do work, the souls of all our friends are in line, and we believe we have the real chance of saving them. Shinozaki. She still had deep scars all along her arms, legs, and neck. Anyone could tell at a glance she'd just recovered from a serious accident. This was the first time in my life I'd found myself tearing up over someone and not being embarrassed that I was crying. Honestly, it surprised even me how deeply I cared about Shinozaki and how much I just didn't want to lose her. My eyes were getting hot and glazed, and I felt utterly helpless. I can't talk about this with anyone else, but you trust me, Kishinuma, don't you? I was at complete loss for words. I found myself literally scratching my head trying to come up with a good answer. This was Shinozaki, and she had come to me for moral support, for encouragement, for peace of mind. It was really the first time she'd ever truly relied on me, ever truly counted on me. I knew then what I had to do. Damn it, you know what we went through in that piece of shit school. There's no telling what might be waiting for us over there. But if you're sure about this, we should do it. Honestly, I have no idea what the hell you're thinking, but I promised you one thing. I tend to deliver on that. What one thing? That I'd protect you no matter what. Shinozaki and I stared at each other's eyes for a moment, each of us trying to figure the other figure out. Don't worry, everything will be okay. I tried to force a smile. Shinozaki had basically curled up into a ball at this point. Her tiny body collapsed in on itself for support. But now all of a sudden she unfurled herself and glared at me. I couldn't tell if she was mad or happy or what. Her eyes were either like daggers or saucers. I couldn't really make out which. Maybe she'd come here expecting me to actually shoot down her idea or something. Maybe she thought she'd be alone in this. Maybe she figured out what I was up to. Or maybe she'd been expecting me to say exactly what I said to her, and maybe it annoyed her. Either way, tears began exploding from her eyes. So quickly that red bags were forming under them almost instantly. She then turned her back to me, all in one seemingly unconscious spin of her body. Shinosaki, are you okay? During the day, you remember when you patted my head? She seemed like she was trying her hardest not to let herself cry, though it wasn't exactly working. Huh? I did? Yeah. You don't remember? She paused, seemingly waiting for me to answer, but I had no idea what to say and absolutely didn't want to say the wrong thing, so I just stood there like an adult. Never mind, then. If you don't remember, that's fine. Finally, she turned back to face me. Her tears mostly dry, still a little self-conscious about crying, though she kept her eyes closed, a telltale frown belying her confidence. There was obviously something between the lines for me to read here, but hell if I knew what it was. Here, let me see your stone. Huh? Okay. Shinosaki removed the ever-after stone from her pocket and placed it squarely in my hand. I positioned it next to my stone and stared intently at the two. This was the turning point. What I did next could decide our fates. I couldn't mess this up. Outside my window, I could still hear the sound of the construction vehicles driving by. It was now or never. As close to one solid motion as I could manage, I opened my window and chucked the two stones out into the road. Oh my goodness! Hey! I timed it perfectly, my aim couldn't have been better. Another truck was just about to pass by and the stones were immediately in its path. The sound I heard next was satisfying crunch. It was the sound of delicate glass like rocks breaking into tiny pieces. Shinosaki had rushed over to the window and directly witnessed the fate of the ever-after stones. As soon as the truck drove over them, she collapsed to her knees. Like I said, I'll protect you no matter what. I have to. I couldn't even finish my sentence before Shinosaki's palm slammed my face with incredible force. The loud smack of the flesh on flesh echoed throughout the room. The side of my face was immediately in pain. I began rubbing it with my hand as I looked into Shinosaki's eyes. Her face was filled with tears and her nose was running. She was breathing so heavily her shoulders were bobbing up and down. I never should have trusted you! Shinosaki, listen, I was wrong to believe you'd help me. I should have known better. She was absolutely hysterical with rage. You think I could just stand by and let you go back there? Back there! It was my turn to fire back now. I was certain I'd done the right thing. How do you even know for sure the book is there? And how did you intend to get back from there once you got there? Going over there without a plan would be a certain death. I hate you! You're an ass! A delinquent, a worthless piece of shit! Oh dear. Leaving me with those hurtful words, Shinosaki then pushed past me and ran out of my room, crying like a child the whole way. I stood back up again, rubbing my cheek where I'd been slapped. A worthless piece of shit. Ow. Please, please, God, where are they? Found them. They're okay. But they were run over by a truck. Why would that matter? Those aren't just any old stones. You. The method in your grasp now rested from the opposition. Now it's time to indulge in what you've won, to push forward and put the method to test. You can make the jump now. You're so much more than those filthy peasants. You can surpass them. You can interject your own will into the fabric of this world. Are you on my side then? Shinosaki. Kishinuma. I'm miles ahead of this trash. Huh? Who the hell? It's that guy I passed in front of Shinosaki's place. They're still intact. Damn it! Shinosaki, give them to me. No. This has to stop. You can't go over there. How many times do you think you can cheat death before death wins? No! Hand them over, damn it. No! Ooh, ouch! That would kill you. Bad dog. Ayumi, you asked if I was on your side. I am. I'm your guardian. I was Hinoe's, your sister's protege. I owe a lot to her. My name is Misuto Kiraya of the Yagura Society. You were my sisters. Good girl. You remember the chant to unlock their powers, don't you? Then let's get started. Let me see those stones. I like how she doesn't care that this, her friend was possibly just killed being thrown into a brick wall, and by that image, crushing said brick wall. Hold on tight to me, and here, a good luck charm. Don't lose it. Obtain Misuto's charm, the Argus Cube. Gasp. Shinozaki, don't go. Don't! I'm sorry. You don't need to worry about me anymore. Shinozaki. You should live a life as a peasant. It's only fitting. Stop. Nirvana, I summon the dead. Shinozaki. Yeah, scream. Always screaming. This can't be happening. My mom texted me. Let me see. Shinozaki. Damn it. Why? God damn it. What dear? Oh, look, maybe we'll get games soon. In the next chapter. Where am I? What do you think? This stench. This heaviness. This school. Its heavenly host. Huh? Misuto, where are you? The Ever After Stones. They're gone. What do I do now? Misuto must still have them. But without them, without those stones, I can't get back. Misuto. I'm all alone in this school again. Or was it just delivered? What the hell was that noise? You're fine, Iris. No, I can't start praying. He's here somewhere. I'll find him. This is just how it happened last time too. Calm down, chick. Huh? How? No one is coming. Like a pomegranate. Head so full of juice. Welcome. No. She needs to calm her tits, I'm sorry. Okay. Her large white long black hair stuffed into the cabinet. As always. Even with Sachiko gone, the malice remains. Heavenly House Elementary notes of all fact and student. Due to the recent kidnapping, caution is highly ranking during activities. In each incident, the victim was taken quietly, blah blah blah. Okay. We are finally in the school! It wasn't this dark last time. There wasn't a clock like that last time either. I guess things really are different now. I hope Misuto hasn't gone too far. I don't even know his phone number. Actually, I should leave a message for him. Misuto, it's Ayumi. Please call me. Good enough, I think. Now let's see if I can find him anywhere. I've stopped at an angle. This clock wasn't here last time, was it? Misuto? It was a rainy evening after school, just like this one. That has to be a person. There should be something I can use to cross this hole. This board? No. Ooh, blood. There's murky yellow goes out, but filling the hall with. This is really. Oh, batteries in the piss bucket! Heavenly House is falling apart more than ever before. As a result, there are numerous hazards to watch out for. From glass and glass to so we don't know. Okay. Depending on the hazard encounter, only the currently selected character may get hurt, and the entire group may take damage. Okay. Jesus. It's a dead body. Before we were the skeleton remains of human beings sprawled unceremoniously on the ground. This is definitely Heavenly Host. This person, I have no idea who he is, but somehow I feel like I've met him before. The name rests beside the corpse. Sukatani High Class Toshis. It's Goto. Decapitation by wire while searching for friend. So, there's something on the floor here. Bandages! So I have to avoid cracks? But if I touch this, it heals me. So, I guess that's what it said before. Jesus. How did that make me jump? Shig. What? Suzumoto. Shig. It's me, Ayumi. I've come here to find you. Oh dear. Shig? Shig. Well, her face did get dragged on the floor pretty hard. Ah, I could probably lose her if I hide in here. You can hide in lockers to avoid harmful entities. However, if you're spotted by the entity while trying to hide, it can very easily pull you out. When entity is near your hiding place, a red circle will be displayed to indicate danger. As it moves farther and farther away, the circle will turn green and eventually go away completely if and when the coast is clear. That's creepy. Press the button to confirm hiding place, but beware, if there are any entities in sight, you'll be immediately chased by them to make sure you exit well. At least I was able to get away. I have to hurry and find Misuto, though. What is this? It's like a spell symbol. That's not encouraging. There's no use hiding. So we're gonna be running from things. And he's hiding. You're always being watched. I suppose that does raise the... Oh, she found me. You didn't have an eye, bitch! on. I need my health. I have to run in spurts or she'll kill me. Oh, glass! Oh, things! Poor Suzumoto. Yuki. Yuki. Yuki, help me. My chin smashed against the floor and the wind was completely knocked out of me. My entire field of vision turned white. It's as if I drenched in some unholy phosphorance. Yuki. Who the fuck is that? No. Then everything went black. Various indistinct forms blurred together in front of my eyes, and all of a sudden it felt as if not my body, but mine had been completely shattered to pieces. Did I just die? Oh, no. That was weird. To be continued! UVP entries for Yoshie Shinozaki have been unlocked. New Encyclopedia Obscura entries have been unlocked. Yuki Kano, Miki Kishinuma, Ever After Stones. Seiji Shinozaki, Hinoe Shinozaki, Blowback. Closed Spaces, Tokiko, Tsuji, Heavenly Host Elementary. Nirvana, Raising of the Corpses, Land of the Corpses, Spirit Items. Yes, I would love to say thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to call that good. We've done about 2 hours, and I think that's a good starting point for today. It'll hopefully get more gameplay moving forward and less reading, because reading gets annoying. Especially when it's me reading, because I'm not great at it, but I try. Yeah. I'm hoping for some. I feel like I missed something because they're referencing a lot, and I'm wondering if that was in the Vita game that I didn't play. Because I know there's a game that I mean, I could get it, but you wouldn't be able to stream it, so I probably won't. I'll just skip it. What the hell is going on now? Oh, yeah. So, yeah. All right. I will come back later. Okay. Bye. Yeah.